Hello everyone, you are watching a snippet of the countdown program from January 30th, 2023. Today is Monday. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. The background of events in recent weeks leaves no doubt that Russia is being prepared for defeat. Whether she likes it or not, she will have to capitulate with the words "Be patient, my beauty." Zelensky announced 2023 as a victorious year. And it looks like he is not mistaken. Events unfold in such a way that an aggressive country is fighting at the limit of its capabilities. It is impossible to reform the army in the course of hostilities, and attempts to transfer the country to a military footing after 11 months of active war are obviously belated. Throwing Putin from Shoigu to Surovikin, then to Gerasimov and the scandalous Prigozhin are like spontaneous convulsions. On the one hand, Putin demands hundreds of thousands of mobiks to be collected and dragged into the trenches. On the other hand, he is afraid of an increase in the level of discontent. But one pulls the other, and no matter how you dodge, no matter how hybrid, and the grumbling of the deep masses is inevitable. The quality of the mobilized is terrible, there is no motivation, the equipment is from the last century. Machine guns are rusty, howitzers break down, equipment is backward. What to fight? It turns out that the population is called to die for the motherland. And then there's the supplier of drones. The last friendly cannibal, Iran, received a drone strike on the defense complex. It appears that the US and Israel are behind the operation, looking for new ways to curb Tehran's nuclear and military ambitions. Especially since Israel's top general said last week that Israel and the US are preparing for the worst. General Herzi Halevi, Israel Defense Forces Chief of Staff, said the latest joint military exercise with the United States sent a very clear signal to Iran. If Iran makes mistakes, offensive capabilities are being prepared. Arab TV channel Al Arabiya reported that Israel thus launched a special military operation on the territory of Iran in order to destroy its military industry, but Israel itself has not yet commented on these statements. Attacks on Iranian military facilities will result in a disruption in the supply of drones for Moscow, although Moscow claims that it has already established the production of geraniums at home. But it will be possible to remove the question of a possible supply of Iranian ballistic missiles to the aggressor. So far, the Rashists are hitting Ukrainian residential buildings with S-300 missiles. One person died. 3 were injured as a result of such a strike on a residential building in Kharkiv late in the evening of January 29. Also during the day, the Russians fired 42 times at the Kherson region. 3 people were killed, 8 civilians were injured of varying severity. By the way, the attack on Iran and the skulls of Russians responds with nuclear hallucinations of the Third World War. Cave political scientist Andrei Perla is literally rushing from the thought of an impending global catastrophe. Israel is running towards a world war so that only its heels are sparkling. In full confidence that the Iron Dome will protect, and no one will shoot down their own planes. The devil knows what this confidence is based on, by the way, on the fact that, if anything, the Americans will fit in. They will fit in, then the war from the Middle East will become a world one. End of quote. This inexplicable thirst for universal roasting has long been tormenting shaggy minds, starting with the most bald. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said Putin threatened him with a nuclear missile at the UK. At some point, he threatened me and said, "Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a rocket it will only take a minute, or something like that," Johnson said. Weapons from the cave sound regularly, although Peskov accused Johnson of lying, once again showing that the Kremlin seeks to look dangerous in the eyes of the world, not crazy. That is why the head of the NATO Military Committee, Admiral Rob Bauer, made a statement that NATO was prepared to a possible clash with Russia, recalling that during last year's summit in Madrid, NATO leaders decided to deploy 4 more battle groups in Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria, in addition to established battle groups in the Baltic states and Poland. And if, or when, the Kremlin will deal its desperate blow, the cleansing of the runaway Rashists will take place not only on the territory of Ukraine, but also in the cave itself, until it is completely destroyed. Former Polish Foreign Minister Anna Fotyga, speaking at the European Parliament, said from the rostrum, "The European Parliament and many other parliaments around the world have called Russia a terrorist state, and it must be liquidated." In her opinion, which is now shared by many politicians in Europe, the war between Russia and Ukraine showed that Moscow does not intend to stop within the existing territorial framework, so it must be ended. Judging by the way post-Soviet atavism is being removed from everywhere, from the diplomatic field, cultural space, science, business and sports, the world is preparing for the disappearance of this Bolshevik fragment of the past. And the last historical point should be the tribunal. In 1946, the Reds judged the Browns, pretending to be the winners. The world belatedly realized its miscalculation, and today's work on the mistakes will be brought to an end.
Смотрите, а война идет, война за Россию, матушку!
Become our patrons now and look further in this program. Putin plans to visit Volgograd, where he should stay for some time. True, Peskov is confusing, because any movement of the Führer in space turns into a special operation with a veil of secrecy. The bald man is afraid of assassination. The bickering between Prigozhin and Strelkov continues, and Shoigu at this time is trying to weaken the position of the Wagnerian ghoul. The once powerful oligarch Alisher Usmanov has embarked on an urgent sale of his assets. The business schemer is in a hurry. He must have time to leave Russia before the moment when the confusion recovers to the bottom of history. General Peter Pavel is elected president of the Czech Republic. He does not like Putin, considers Russia hostile and incapable of democratic change, and Navalny, in his opinion, is just another kind of nationalist. Pavel is also against letting Russians fleeing the mobilization into the Czech Republic, so there will be no warming. Kadyrov reproached European countries for not supporting Korea when it declared itself independent in the 1990s, and this is a serious slip of the tongue of Putin's infantrymen, hinting that as soon as the money from Moscow runs out, wild dances of hot guys will immediately begin. And the Russian world will rake with all mercilessness, like the NTV propagandist, whom Akhmet's soldiers raped in Melitopol as part of coercion to love. And that is all. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to all. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.